Hi everyone, welcome back to our Women in Learning series. I'm Michelle, and today I have Fannie Lim from Daughters of Tomorrow. I'm pointing up because she's on my top part of my screen, and Dimple Singh from Her Rise Above. Both of them are from Singapore. Fannie, would you like just to introduce yourself, and then Dimple, you can follow up with that.
Sure. Thanks, Michelle, and thank you for having me on this platform. So I'm Fannie. I'm the Executive Director at Daughters of Tomorrow, a local IPC nonprofit that works with lower income women, and we provide accessible and sustainable job opportunities. We facilitate the access to such opportunities by the employer partners that we recruit and also onboard to our network as well. The end goal, hopefully, ultimately, is to gain financial independence for themselves and also build a better tomorrow for their families.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds like a very, very nice. I mean, I would say nice job just because it's such a good social impact. Dimple?
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Hi, Fannie. My name is Dimple Sanghi. I'm the co-founder of Her Rise Above. We, again, help women from low-income backgrounds to set up their home-based business and with the final goal of achieving financial independence. I have started this with my co-partner, Sapna. We started this about 4 years ago, where we wanted to make a difference. We were basically part of Daughters of Tomorrow, where Fannie is, and kindly Daughters of Tomorrow agreed to spin off their entrepreneurial initiative to us, which we made it into Her Rise Above. We work very closely with Daughters of Tomorrow as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Dimple. And thank you, Fannie, for that introduction there. I think you both are probably the best people to also just ask this first question. No region or country has been exempted from the pandemic. Not even Asia or even Southeast Asia. In your opinion, how has the pandemic affected the existing inequalities within the region, especially the economic sector, and especially in relation to women? So whoever wants to go first, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I think that Dimple, if you don't mind, I think the imagery I have, and I'm sure you probably have seen this as well, the memes or whatever it is, some cartoon describing the pandemic or the state of the world, that it is a storm, a fast and furious storm that hit all of us. But everybody is in different types of vessels. And of course, those with more fragile type of vessels, the sampan or the wooden long tail type of, basically nothing too stable and nothing too robust, will definitely face the impact even more. So while everybody is suffering, but it's to varying degrees, and women from this segment, I think is even at that intersection whereby most of the caregiving duties are on them, be it the elderly, be it the children. So with that, it creates that vulnerability or deepens that vulnerability in their lives.
Yeah. Our ladies also faced a lot of issues. In any case, being in the low income backgrounds, you're almost living on the edge, barely making ends meet. And with COVID, if suddenly you're pushed to another zone, it just becomes even more difficult. So it has been very tough. But the good part is that when you set up your own business, which also takes time again to stabilize after you have probably lost your jobs during COVID time, it has been really very tough. But resilience is what has got all of it up to so far.
Yeah, I think maybe something I wanted to say is also just, obviously, I think the challenges have changed pre-COVID and even during COVID times. Do you mind if both of you could share some of the challenges Daughters of Tomorrow and Her Rise Above face in kind of reskilling and upskilling the women who are either in low income households or either women who have just lost their jobs? So what are the challenges right now, and how does that differ from the challenges pre-COVID? Dimple, if you'd like to start us off.
Yeah, so pre-COVID, it was actually very easy. People never used to think twice in terms of, going to pick up, their food or any kind of arts or craft from, the homes of the ladies. There used to be, meeting points as well, which was really very easy. Everything was just so easy, and nobody even thought about, that, I have to think twice in terms of ordering from a home-based business. Post-COVID, everything changed. People were really very worried about, that how is the hygiene levels, in the home-based business? Have they upscaled in terms of the hygiene? No touch points. Delivery became the only and the whole and sole part of it. And when you're doing delivery, there's a different kind of packaging which is required, which also increases costs. And delivery, as you know, in Singapore is super expensive. Most of our home-based businesses, each item would be on an average about $15 to $20. And now for that, if we have to, use expensive delivery methodologies like $10 per delivery, the whole business model came to a standstill. Therefore, we had to really sit down together with our ladies and think again as to how we can, survive in this whole thing. So it poses challenges as well. But what it really did was help our ladies think out of the box and to be able to come up very quickly on this.
Okay. Fannie, before I have you answer the question, but a question popped up in my mind for Dimple. You talked about how obviously the price points had to change and I think financial, I'm not too sure whether it applies in Singapore, but I was talking to another, industry expert here in Malaysia, and they were sharing about how financial literacy and entrepreneurial knowledge and skills are something that women, business women, or women entrepreneurs do struggle with, because those are two skills that I'm not too sure whether these are the most dominant skills, but these are two skills that really do help women do better in their businesses and in their entrepreneur what do you call the entrepreneurship ventures. Is that something that you noticed, that not only did they have to think out of the box, but you had to really focus on upskilling their financial literacy and their entrepreneurial skills?
Surely, in terms of how you are going to spend the dollar, because every dollar counts. You'd be surprised, but most of our women really thought that the revenues is profit, and all the cost was not even accounted for. And when you see so much of revenue coming in, some of them thought, okay, here is my money, let me just go and do this or do that. So yes, we are very, very particular in terms of financial literacy. That's one of the first modules that we look at, which is the costing, is that you need to understand that you're making profits, not just sales value. In terms of how you're going to portion size it, how you're going to convert the recipe into the packet of sales. Again, whether packaging, requires stickers, which, the customer is already sold. He's ordering from you. That means they know you. Why do you need to put fancy labels on it? Or why do you need to put fancy stickers on it? So you can save money on that as well. Why do you need personalized bags, delivery bags, and get them printed? Because again, the person knows brown bags will do, or whether they will not do. Should I invest further on new recipes? Because home-based businesses really did very well. People were ordering from everywhere and anywhere possible. So if I can, innovate, and come up with new products, which is appealing and unique to, to the customers, that's how we encourage our ladies to think differently.
That sounds like a whole bunch of skills that I currently don't have. So that's a good one, right? I'm going to write it down and say, like, these are skills that I need to learn myself. Fannie, you talked about just now what Daughters of Tomorrow do. The end goal is to have these women be financially independent. Your thoughts on how the reskilling and upskilling opportunities have changed pre-COVID and, now during this time of COVID?
Yeah, it's been what, 2 years plus of COVID.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that we'll still be talking about COVID matters, right? After so long. But it is the reality, unfortunately. And I think, so one of the things that we did once COVID hits in 2020 back then was to send out a survey among the women in the DOT database and to see what are their immediate needs. So even before going through a revamp of upskilling, I mean, we understood that things needed to be online because you cannot have person interactions. But yeah, we also wanted to know what are their immediate and urgent needs, right? Then that's when the top need was actually on fresh food and groceries. And then somewhere after that was something to do with help with home-based learning, and also jobs became like it dropped, because prior to COVID, when women came to us or were referred to us, is usually for jobs. You know, the social workers refer them, or they come to us. But majority, you know, some of the SSO officers that are from MSF refers them to us. Mostly it's for jobs. But suddenly you see that, you know, that need just became like, you know, at 5 or 6 type of thing. Then there were other immediate. So I think we pivoted. Even before talking about upskilling and how to reskill them, I think you need to keep people afloat, because if back to the storm analogy, they are already drowning, you know. So we don't talk about how to beautify and strengthen your boat right now. People are drowning. So you do the necessary to get them to the space where they even can think about upskilling. So that was the very first step, actually. Then in terms of our upskilling journey, how it has changed, of course, things went online. Things became very ad hoc. You know, the trainers took out their phones and they recorded themselves, and then we put it on whatever available platform that was free and fast and user friendly, which was like, you know, the Facebook platform, because most of the women, if they knew technology at all, would be, and if they had access to it at all, would be probably handful. That was the best part for us. And then but I think the digital gap showed to be very obvious during this time, because the access to devices, the access to internet. So we were doing things that we weren't doing before. So I mean, we had IT courses, basic IT courses, where we were loaning out, but we were not sending them out in that manner before. You know, we were like literally getting devices out to the women's homes, and more so also to help their children with home-based learning, because a family of 5 could be having just one device. That type of situation, right? And then they didn't have, because everybody is at home, so they didn't have sufficient bandwidth. So some children do not even get to finish their homework because, you know, by a certain day, they internet cut off already. So we were sending out data dongles. So yeah, if you ask me what the difference was, it took us, like what Dimple said, it set us back. What was previously, you know, you were at that level, suddenly you had to take a few steps back and do the to get people get people to where they need to be to consider upskilling.
I really appreciate both of you sharing this, because a lot of times we think about what do you call that? We think about, you know, upskilling and reskilling for a better future of work situation and things like that. But what we don't realize is that people from low income households, or people who are already, you know, as Fannie, as you mentioned, they already exist on a sampan rather than, you know, a beautified, robust ship or whatever to weather the storm. They have very different circumstances, but all of them also, they would like the same thing. They would like to be financially independent. They would like to be able to be resilient and remain competitive, or even just to be able to survive and thrive in the future of work. So it's a very good reminder that everybody comes from a very different, and nobody's on the equal kind of platform, and everything, the way you deal with people with different circumstances, that takes, it makes you think differently, and also makes you aware of the circumstances as well. So thank you for that. Maybe, you know, like, I know we talked about COVID already, so let's put that aside and let's look towards the future. I think there are a lot of lessons that we can obviously learn from the past 2 years, or even just prior to the past 2 years. What are some skills, or how can women equip and educate themselves for a better future of work? Fannie, if you don't mind sharing first, just in general, how can women remain more competitive and adaptable once they've kind of had their bare minimum needs met?
I think the future of work beyond the technical skill sets, because as we can see, it is really evolving so quickly. I mean, I don't know, jobs that are available today. I mean, a gamer is a job now. Don't get me wrong. I remember growing up, and then when we play games, right, then my mom will say, like, you know, hey, play so much, can earn money, you know. But now I can tell her, really can earn money, you know, ma. But and that is the future. You don't know what is going to be the future of work, what industries will thrive, and, you know, new things are coming out I don't know, it's so fast because of technology, you know. It's like driving the speed of change. And I think the future of work really belongs to people who are willing to be agile in their and you know, have that kind of mindset to want to continuously learn and try out and explore new things. So, to me, that is how you create the future of work type of workforce, people who are willing to learn, people who are willing to adapt, and become agile and do what it takes, I suppose.
Mhm.
But like you said, you have to have that kind of basic needs met, because that basic need component is so important. It creates a different psychological
Yeah.
space, because I'm talking about mindset, right? Mindset, when you have a ready mindset, then you are ready for the future of
Yeah.
work. But because I'm so, insecure in my finances, I'm constantly worrying, you will not be psychologically even like thinking, how do I prepare for the future type of thing. You are thinking about tomorrow.
Yeah.
I remember one time a beneficiary shared this, and I loved it. I loved what he was said. So this was the statement basically that I know that planning for the future is critical, but tomorrow's needs are more urgent. I'm paraphrasing, but that is the gist of what he was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. I think Dimple, do you have anything to add on? Not just from what Fanny is saying, but also for women who are entrepreneurs, the women that you work with as well at Her Rise Above.
Yeah, so Fanny actually summed it up absolutely beautifully. I think it is absolutely correct. The question is about adaptability, and how quickly are you going to adapt yourself to the changing times, especially in the businesses. As you said, when we see competition is selling your product, let's say a cookie at half the price, and you just can't get or compete with them, you have to move on and do something else. Maybe do a bake, or maybe do something else. The question is how quickly you can adapt and pivot yourself, or you upskill it. You may make something which is very unique for yourself, because customers again have access to so much of stuff now, given the fact that post COVID, technology has opened the world literally, and Singapore is just not the market. We actually do have inquiries which are coming out of Singapore as well for our
Wonderful.
ladies. Yeah. And they're always asking, can you export your cookies? Can you do this? Can you do that? The question is that, how quickly you're able to adapt to, those kind of markets. And, technology really helps. So if you, like Fanny said, if you get to technology very quickly, then it just becomes a habit, to check out, how it's happening over there, and what kind of, packaging I can change, and how can I compete in a different market? How can I make my customers happy? And it's easy to keep an eye on competition as well, because, businesses is all about competition. Even though you're coming from a low income background, that doesn't change anything for the customer. The customer just wants the product. The customer just wants the service. They may come to you for the first step because, they want to help you. But after that, after the first 10 seconds, that's what we tell our ladies. It is absolutely a level playing field, and you have to compete with everybody who has lots of money behind them to put their business. So it's how quickly you adopt yourself.
Okay. I have another question. It's not really related to the discussion questions that we had prior, because you mentioned that the cookie business is that the one that has like demands from outside of Singapore. If you could just share, how did Her Rise Above go about maybe helping this business owner deal with this sudden outside demand, external demand, rather than just in Singapore? What were maybe some skills or some like knowledge that she needed to learn, if you could share?
Yes, so I have to be caveated that we were not able to fulfill that demand, but it was a lot more easier than what it sounds. It was actually an order from our Christmas catalog. A bank ordered for their customers. The customers really liked it. The bank was super happy that it was part of their CSR. So they wanted to extend it and wanted to send the same bundle of packaging to their customers in Hong Kong as well as in India. So they were like, can you export it to our offices over there? And it's pretty easy. We actually did a lot of homework, with the ladies to get it done as to how it got, how we would export it, how it will be packaged, how the products will be shelf stable, and we did a full module actually on how to make your products shelf stable, because all our ladies do fresh. They don't have that much of money for inventory in any case, so there's no point. but we, literally, went through Google, learned how to, do the retort packaging kind of a thing and everything. But yeah, it's just that, the pricing could not match up. And that's the reason why we finally kind of bowed out of this situation. And we actually advised the client that it's better you source locally, while we are very thrilled about it. But the good part was actually it gave us a good idea that, okay, we can do it. It's not very difficult, and why should we be only putting blinkers for Singapore? It's going to be, we can open ourselves to more. It gave us super confidence, not only to the lady who got the order for the cookies, but the rest of us, because we have a community chat group as well. So we put in the community chat a group that, this is the order which this, riser is what we call our ladies. This riser has got, and everybody came up with their own little ideas. You can do this, you can do this. I can help you. You get this particular butter. It actually has a longer shelf life when you use it in your cookies. So that's what was, really was a good takeaway for us.
I like that. I love that sense of community. And I think, Fannie, you also mentioned just now about how there's a lot of need to kind of like, of course, meet the basic needs. But I think that's where the community, the sense of community and network also comes about. I mean, of course, I don't know about you, but I feel that with technology, it has made it somewhat easier to connect. Although if one household is sharing one handphone or one laptop, then obviously the connection time might differ and might be a bit more difficult. But have you found that, for the both of you, but have you found that creating a sense of community and having women themselves kind of like just share their ideas very beneficial to their growth, towards financial independence?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fannie.
So I'm going to be very well, I don't know if you consider it controversial, but
No, that's okay.
yeah, so I don't know where this recording will go, Michelle, but I'm just going to say it. I know that I run a charity, but I must say that I honestly don't think that charity, and especially not one single organization, can resolve the what we are hoping to achieve. And in fact, I don't even know whether 10 charities, 20 charities is able to do what we need to do. So I definitely believe in the power of community. I believe in the power of generosity. Yeah, because as long as I've been in DOT, it's short for Daughters of Tomorrow. I've come to learn that there's so many things that you've got to manage besides doing the work itself. Due to because we're governed by Company Act, Charity Act, and all that. So yeah, there's a lot of things that go behind running a charity, and I feel that if the community comes alongside, so there is this. I'll share with you an example. There's this couple who actually just start. They what they did was they set up a ground up initiative to befriend people who are rough sleepers. Now, yeah, and because there's a need, and they saw it and they stepped up to it, and then along with that, I think they've befriended this mother, the single mother of 2 children, and they open up their home. They have 1 toddler themselves, and they live in a HDB, but they open up their home. Now, this is the power of community, and they are now trying to get, as they do their walks and all of that, they're trying to get more families. In December last year, they did a call out actually that, I think in early December, they wrote an article and then they said, can you guys open up your homes? Because, yeah, I mean, they were Christians. So they were saying that, the true meaning of Christmas, you open up your homes and you get people to celebrate and stuff like that, Yeah. So I think there is great power in community stepping up and just giving.
Yeah, undoubtedly, I completely agree. That the problems cannot be solved single-handedly, and which is why we work very closely with Daughters of Tomorrow, as you know, and the family service centers, community centers. All the grassroots volunteers, all the grounds up initiatives, because it's one human being who's been sometimes if you're coming from a low income background, you sometimes get attacked with so many other issues, their own mental well-being, their family's mental being, their children's maybe physical needs, education, technology, spouse related. So it's just so much, so if everybody can come, together, like a ring of, confidence around the human being, so to say. That's where I think you all can do, a lot more. And, we can truly say that we've really added value and made a difference to that person. But single-handedly, yes, I think Fanny is absolutely right. Even for us, if I do help set up their business, but if the family is not supportive about it, then there's very little you can do. Or the children are completely not able to be like we have one of our riser, who's not able to get surgery done for her child, and therefore the child falls sick very quickly. Then it just cannot help. So if on the healthcare side of it takes care of it, or one lady was a little bit taken aback because her children, she's not very clear whether the next quarter's fees will be able to be she'll be able to manage. So that weighs on her, which will further weigh on her business, which further weighs on her job. So we all as a community need to be together if we want to make a difference.
Yeah, and I think if you look at even ourselves, if you take a reflect on our lives, I'm sure you can say that there are so many people who have impacted us. Recently I took a bit of a memory lane, walk down memory lane kind of thing, and I think, oh yeah, this person impacted me when I was younger as a youth, and then this person came alongside me when I was starting out with my work. There's so many people would have. It's almost like a plant that grows, right? You have maybe somebody planted, somebody could water, there's another then you have the sun coming to do its job. So everybody has a hand to play in the development of any person, like Dimple was saying. Yeah
I think that's so true. I don't know whether this is the right thing to say, but Fanny, I don't think what you said was controversial. I think it really rings true. And I think it is very important that community plays a big role. And having other conversations with other industry experts, they've also really mentioned that one skill that they really look for in their workforce, which at whichever level, is that ability to network and connect with other people, because teamwork or even community work, that is essential to succeeding, not just as an individual, but as an organization as well. And I wonder, maybe we can take this the other way. What can organizations do for these women, for the Daughters of Tomorrow beneficiaries and her Rise Above risers, correct? Is that what we call?
That's
yes,
correct.
we call the women risers. Yeah. What can organizations do? They don't have to be charity organizations, any organizations around, other than maybe buying their goods and stuff like that. What can these organizations do to help reskill and upskill these women as well, in terms of because we're talking about community? Dimple, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I think the most important part is, just to give support, even as your individual self, or, as a business or as a community, is just give a chance, I mean, just give a chance. That's all, that, our ladies can, whether they can perform or whether they, they can deliver as far your expectation is concerned, because that's what it is all about. It's word of mouth which will get you for your businesses to the next level. It's okay, and give the feedback that your service was not good, or your product was not good, or anything like that. Don't come to our ladies that, oh, okay, I'm just helping you for that one little point, and then you're not. Treat them as what they are supposed to be. They are here for a reason. It is very easy for our ladies, to go up to any kind of a charity and survive on any kind of a charity which is available for, or grant which is available from them. But they're standing over there because they want to make a difference in their own life. They want to make a difference for their family. They want to show to their children and to their spouse that they are also worth something. They want to contribute it. Give them a chance. And that's all I'm saying. Businesses also, whenever, whoever is hearing over here, whenever you have your office parties, or you have some kind of a get together, give our ladies a chance to cater to those products. Whenever you're going for a manicure service, or whenever you're going for any kind of other services, we have a lady who does even office cleaning services. Give our ladies a chance, and see how they can really stand up and be on their own 2 feet.
Yeah, thanks. Fanny, would you like to share?
Yeah, so my I no, it was a very passionate call, Dimple made.
Yes.
So I think my encouragement to the community or to businesses or whoever individuals is actually to socialize. Ask yourselves whether are you in any of these circles, because I find that sometimes we're very comfortable in our own circles,
Yeah.
and because it is out of sight, it will be out of mind. Very pretty much. And because we live in such a beautiful city, right, the skylines are also pretty, everything is done up very nicely lah, pristine and clean. You forget that there are people who live below 1,900 or 650 per capita household income type of thing. You forget that people actually have challenges to even top up their easy link cards. I've never thought about it actually, like until I attended my own the organization's poverty sensitization workshop. I remember thinking, oh yeah, I never had a second thought about topping up my EasyLink card. The minimum sum back then was $10 on cash. And I realized, hey, why does it have to be $10? Only after, I attended this poverty center. Yeah, people might not have $10, they might have $5, they might have $2, that kind of thing. So socialize, because it helps you gain insights, it helps you to understand better, and it helps you not to forget. So that's one thing, right?
Yeah.
The second thing I think is to understand that the people from lower income community are humans like you and me. So, they would also like to give back. And in fact, some of them are very generous. Many of them that I've met are actually a lot more generous than I would care to admit for myself. And so I think there is some great dignity when we understand that, hey, people want to give back as well, as much as you do as a volunteer or as whoever, So it's not just a one-way street. I think we got to understand that, hey, they would like to give back. And sometimes it's okay to, receive. And I know some of the women, they bring me goodies, and they always give me certain, it's small gestures, were very thoughtful, they handmade things, and then they will buy food. And yeah, then I'm like, oh wow, you're always so generous, so thoughtful. And it's okay lah, I think, to receive some of those gifts from them from time to time, right? So it's not a one-way street.
Yeah.
But the last point is actually on inclusivity. I think when we and a lot of companies, this is like a buzzword, D&I, diversity and inclusion. It's like CSR pillar, HR pillar, whatever pillars that you want. But I think inclusivity, we got to understand, goes beyond an opportunity. A lot of people think that, oh, I'm giving you an opportunity. People don't take up, hey, no, then I've done my part on inclusion. But I think inclusion requires you to understand and give that space and time.
Yeah.
For people to actually be able to come to that opportunity. So while it's great to have opportunity, some people need that space as well and time to actually be able to make full use of that. And I honestly think it's a tall order. I know I hire from Dot hires from our beneficiary pool as well. And sometimes it is challenging because when they're single mothers, their children fall sick and stuff like that, they are unable to come to work. And operationally, we got to figure out what to do,
Yeah.
But I think once you are able to ride it out together as a team, you will be able to find that diamond in the rough. Yeah. The rough being the circumstances that they're in. It gets messy and chaotic. But you will be able to see a diamond shine through, because every person, every human being has a potential, right? What makes us think that they have any less?
Yeah. That's very true. I think I recently had a conversation with someone else, and they were saying about how it is so essential that the D&I pillar and all of these things, it needs to not just be a one-off thing, or like maybe you do once every quarter of the year, but you have to fully integrate it into the DNA of that organization. So that means also not only just giving an opportunity, like, for instance, not just a one-off, maybe, okay, fine, we will cater from this women's business, or give them a, kind of like a donation and things like that. But it's about also giving them the opportunity, opening the doors and allowing them to grow and develop their skills even inside the organization itself.
Yeah. Michelle, can I just share with you a recent insight I had?
Yeah, sure.
I'm thinking that, if we, and COVID has taught us a lot of things, right? As much as it has brought great suffering, it has, if you look at the other side of it, you actually can pick up lessons. And one of the things I thought of is, what if we treated poverty like COVID, right? You require the whole society to, and then you literally have deterrent measures, and everybody, you pull circuit breakers, if you have any danger of the social work system being overwhelmed, it's like how they do their healthcare system, once you see overwhelmed, then you put in measures really. So what if we tighten and look at it from that standpoint, where society all have to play their part, and if you don't, gonna fine. And it will be amazing, isn't it? I mean, the way that we are reporting COVID numbers now, honestly, I don't know why we're still reporting, because we're in an endemic state, but that's another conversation. But if we reported the number of people on financial assistance and who are living below a certain, every day in, day out, report it like that, it's like, wow, everybody will feel like, oh my goodness, let's just do something about it already, right? What we treated it, because in some ways, probably it's like it does affect and create problems for the society. It's just not so obvious right now, but it does. It actually brings us a great cost when we don't deal with it.
I guess
maybe. I think it's a wonderful idea. Idea. It's a great one. I'm just thinking that you're right. For all of us, even if I don't wear the Her Rise Above hat and I just wear my personal hat, if it's coming to my face every day in terms of reporting numbers, so many people live below the poverty line, or so many people, have now actually moved up from, the thing. It'll be wonderful for the entire society, and it actually will be a personal upliftment as well. It'll make you conscious. What is more important is it'll make you conscious every day that, yes, did I play my part or did I not? That's a great idea. I hope somebody who's listening to us picks this up. Great idea. I think, Fannie, well done. This is a great idea.
I have to say, I think this ties in very well with the last question I have for you both. Actually, what does the future of learning look like for women in Asia? And I feel that maybe this is something that women in Asia should actually do. They should figure out how to do this. But in all honesty, thank you so much for sharing. And Fannie, I do agree with you. I think if we were, even at a personal level, I do believe if we were reporting poverty issues, or single household or low income household issues, anything that is pertaining to this group of people who are struggling, who are, because I think that just like COVID, we have symptoms, but with poverty, the symptoms are not so tangible. It's like with COVID, we don't feel it ourselves. A lot of times, a lot of people in the other parts of society, they don't feel it themselves. But when we kind of throw it in the face of it, then it really creates a sense of consciousness, as you said, Dimple, and it may actually invite that power of community to really do something about it, to tackle the issue, to help each and every one of these women, assist them where they need be, and give them that space and opportunity to really grow and develop, so that they can, at the end of the day, I know, like you said, both of you said, it's now the ultimate goal is for them to be financially independent. It might take a very long way to go. Obviously, COVID has kind of set back a lot for these individuals, but I think it's not impossible to do as well. There is a silver lining coming out of this past 2 years. What are your thoughts about what the future of learning would look like for the women in Asia from both of your perspectives? Dimple, do you want to go first?
Interesting. I think learning is a process more than just a goalpost, and the process is just continuous. I think till the last day of our lives, we will all be learning. We will be a better self. The goalpost should be, am I a better self than what I was yesterday? But learning is continuous.
I really like that. I need to write. Can you repeat that? Am I a better self than I was?
Am I a better self today than what I was yesterday?
Okay, that's good. Fannie, you can share your thoughts as well.
I like that too, Dimple. And I think actually it's as though we make it to be very the things that are evolving and becoming more and more advanced, it has to do with technology lah.
Yeah.
Most of it, technology is fueling either medical technology, either the world of AI and stuff like that, right? But actually, the humans are pretty much the same. The way we relate to one another and all that. So I honestly think that the future of work, a lot lies in building relationships with one, like it's just knowing how to be human, which I think technology somehow has also. And this is what my son told me. It's so funny. My son is 12 this year. He doesn't have a mobile phone. And then he did tell me that he's like, I'm feeling a little left out, mom. Because most of my friends have them. And then I said, oh, is there any pros? We were weighing out. I said, oh, do you see any benefits of you not having a phone? And then he said, oh, I think I can relate to people better. I'm able to interact and socialize, carry a conversation. So he shared this. Yeah. So I feel that it's, technology somewhat, it's not meant to be. It's, if anything, I mean, with anything, you can use it for good or evil, so to speak, right? But I think sometimes one of the consequences is, maybe the relational aspect is has taken a bit of a backseat sometimes. And I think future of learning, hopefully people are still able to relate and have empathy and build the connection with one another. I think that is still it's
Above
not
all
even the
else.
future. It's actually the past and the present and the future. I think to me that is important. Yeah.
I think that's very true, because I learned this term this year when kind of like researching for the Women in Learning series. It's called power skills. I think what both of you have mentioned are power skills, because they are skills that cannot be replaced by technology. Yes, digital skills are very important to set up our own businesses, for anybody to advance, kind of like in this fourth industrial revolution, in this future of work kind of situation. But the power skills, for instance, empathy, resilience, adaptability, the ability to communicate and relate with one another. These are skills that will set you apart. They will help you kind of not only survive, but also thrive in that future of work as well. That's something that I've learned or heard so often in all of the interviews I've done so far. These are just like very, like the final words of anybody that says this, like the final tips you have is like to be able to network and be able to socialize and relate with one another.
Yeah, and I think the future of learning is also that you understand it is not tied to a piece of paper. I think that one is more local context. I'm speaking, that we are very tied to certain papers and the school systems and stuff like that. It's like, but I don't think, I think like if you go on LinkedIn Learning platform, for example, there's so many courses there and there's so many things you can learn just from observing as well. I love to observe people and, when I interact with elderly and stuff like that. So my husband did set up a night shelter during COVID, under his organization then. And I remember there were guests who stays there. One of the guests there, he's a 70-plus-year-old man. Wow, he read encyclopedia and all that, So if you interact with him, he's very knowledgeable. So it's amazing. I mean, the future of learning, I think, has to do with your own, if you're hungry, like Dimple said, continuous learning. If you are hungry to learn, honestly, learning takes place anywhere. And I remember that my husband purposely, bring my kids along so that, to interact with this elderly uncle, because he's got so many stories to tell. And this, I call the, in Chinese, it's called like 学会大学 啦. It's like the university of life type of thing, right?
Yeah. Dimple, do you have anything to add?
No, I think it's just summed up pretty well, like I mentioned, the world is evolving, the world is evolving fast, and learning is a process. I think we should just try to take the good from whatever new technology, like Fannie mentioned, the good and the evils also. Let's embrace the good as well, and then not forget that the basics are still there. The touch and feel will continue.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Fannie. Thank you so much, Dimple, for taking the time out to share your thoughts and your experiences really about. I think it's a very good balancing act here. When we talk about women in learning, we're talking about women across all socioeconomic statuses, because every single individual obviously deserves the right and equal access to learning or skilling up, or that opportunity in this case with Dot and her Rise Above. the equal opportunity to have that financial independence. So thank you very much for sharing. And I think it rings very true throughout all the other conversations that we've had, that power skills like communication, resilience, and adaptability, they are the ones that really trumped all the other skills, and that learning is a lifelong journey as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. It was a
Now,
pleasure.
Thank
thanks,
you.
Dimple.